One daughter's breakfast, leftover pasta and sauce. Does anyone else clean out their mayo with a spatula? And then I put the mayo I'm doing on English muffins to use them up for sandwich. One child is having just English muffins and butter, and then I'm making a sandwich with the other English muffin. But look how much I got out. There might be enough for another half sandwich if I'm lucky. And here is the lunch. 2 yogurt tubes, apple pouch that she didn't eat yesterday, the orange cranberry loaf, English muffin with meat and cheese, and apple thin slices. I'm going to make turkey vegetable, I think, noodle soup. I'll look what I have in the cupboard. But that's the turkey broth that, the chicken broth that I took out of the freezer yesterday. I put in it was in a Ziploc bag, and I put into this pot, and it's still frozen. So we keep our house about 18 degrees normally anyways, so even in the wintertime it goes up to about 20 degrees Celsius, which is the low end of room temperature. We don't like paying extra for hydro, and I'm usually warm anyways. Actually, most of my family is usually warm. So, but I'm going to put these vegetables in the food processor and chop them up. I've got 3 little onions. I've got a parsnip, 4 rainbow carrots, an orange, a couple red and a yellow, and 2 little turnips. Gotta chop them up so that they get hidden in the soup. And there we go. Also, 4 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna put 4 cloves of garlic in. And there we go, it's all chopped up. And there's the veggies in the soup. And stir it all up. And there's the turkey. Just chopped up. It's very moist. Usually I try and reuse some Ziplocs, especially if they had cooked food in them or that, but if they're really greasy, I know I'll never get them clean, so then I just throw them out. And I took this out of the freezer, the sacchetti. I think they're little tiny meat, like wontons. I think they will be wonderful in the soup, but I'm not going to put them in right away. I'll only put them in like the last 20 minutes or so, because they only take 2 to 3 minutes to cook. I took these out of the freezer as I bought them a few months ago and didn't get to use them for whatever recipe I was planning to. So this soup, I love this pot because it actually has levels on it, is 4 liters or 4 quarts. When I put the pasta in, it'll be a little bit more. So this will be good for either a meal plus some lunches. I think my husband wants to have a small bowl of this with supper before supper. He was mentioning that would be a nice little appetizer type thing, because when he gets home, we literally eat supper right away, because he gets home about 6:30 most days, and he's been out in the cold for at least 40 minutes or so on the bus or waiting for the bus, because it takes about 40 minutes to an hour to get home. So he's not waiting too long for the bus, but it's about a 10-minute walk from the bus stop. So he's probably a bit chilly, and he was mentioning he actually wanted soup, which I'm like, great, because soup is so economical. Like literally this costs pennies because I did the chicken broth from a chicken carcass and vegetable cuttings that I was going to throw out anyways. The vegetables are pennies. The turkey are leftover from Thanksgiving, so I don't usually spend more than $10 or $15 on a turkey, and it usually feeds us for like 4 or 5 meals easily. And the rest of supper is going to be the chicken tikka I took out yesterday and rice, and I'm thinking I'm going to make a curry chickpea dish as a side. So, hello, I'm going to show you a bit of my longer term storage that I have on metal shelves in my garage for things that doesn't mind being frozen. Like here is some whole wheat flour, rice, oats, some brown sugar. I also have some appliances that are up here that I don't use too often. Also, there's like some freezies and some casserole dishes. But I needed to get some rice out. I got these jars from a friend of mine who went to an auction. They're like 5 quarts. But the problem is I can't just reach over. And I keep the scoop for my rice cooker, which says 3/4 of a cup of rice for one level on my rice cooker, which is here. It has measurements of 2, 4. So I fill this up. I'm going to do 4. Sometimes I forget to count, and that's my problem. And close it up. But they're great for storage. They're glass. They look like little barrels. Some of them have handles, but I don't trust the handles because they come off. They're not, I have to figure out a way to really secure the handles. Make sure it's closed. There we go. And then I have the rice here. And see there, I have the water and the rice. I'm going to put this into the rice cooker to cook under white rice, as I think this is just basmati rice. And this will go with tonight's curried chickpeas and chicken tikka. And I think I'm going to have naan if I have any left in the freezer. Remember that mystery bag from yesterday I took out of the freezer? It's roasted pumpkin. So I am taking some of it out. It's still quite frozen. I'm going to put this back in the cooler outside. Since it's minus 20 here in Canada, I have a cooler outside that I can put stuff in that will keep things frozen, and when if it warms up, it at least keeps things cold. But I sometimes do that when I'm cooking with different things. I don't want to throw them back into the deep freeze, and I'm still going to use it, but I don't want it completely thawed out right away because then I would have to use it all right away. So this will go back in. I'm going to make maybe pumpkin muffins or pumpkin pancakes for lunches or breakfasts or whatever this week. I haven't figured that part out, but I'm going to make a chickpea curry, and I'm going to hide pumpkin in it. Since curry is already yellowy orange and this is already like blended up, it'll be really easy to use this to thicken up the sauce, and my kids won't notice it, and if they do, well, oh well, they'll still eat it because it's curry. and my kids like curry. Remember the squashes I cooked up yesterday? I'm going to have a half of that for a mid-morning snack before lunch as I'm hungry. Now I guess it would be maybe breakfast since I had an English muffin. And now I'll have this. Just I'm not a big meal eater in the morning. So I figure since I'm the only one that really likes squash, I'll eat that whenever I want. And since it's already cooked, I put it in the microwave for a minute or two, and it'll be fine. So now I'm going to put 3 onions, a couple cloves of garlic, and a chunk of ginger. I'm not even going to peel it. The extra fiber is fine. And a couple of things of kale into the food processor, because I think I can hide the kale in this and make it look like herbs in the curry as well. So chop them up. There we go. I think it's all chopped now. And this is ghee. It's clarified butter. It really makes, if you have it, it makes Indian recipes extra special tasting, like as if you're getting it from the restaurant. I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons in here. Just saute the vegetables, like the onions and the garlic and ginger, and the kale, since I threw that in there, as well as I'm putting in curry powder. I don't really measure it. I put a bit in that I know would be good, and then I just taste it as I go. Gonna let that cook. And then I will put the pumpkin in once the onions and everything starts to cook down and be clear. Not that we can see it because they're little tiny pieces. Make it really, roasting the spices in the pan really brings out the spice flavors, especially with the curry. You could make your own curry spice too, with mixtures of cumin, turmeric, cardamom, cayenne, a whole bunch of them. I usually do curry, and if I have the other spices, I might add them to it. I'll see how it tastes and what I feel like at the moment. I'll link the recipe I'm semi-following and getting the inspiration from. It calls for 2 cans of chickpeas. Well, I have 1 of mixed beans and 1 of chickpeas, so that's what I'm going to use. It doesn't call for the pumpkin, which I'm just throwing in, and it doesn't call the kale either. So you do what you can with what you have and make it work. I just add some salt, and now I'm adding the pumpkin. It also calls for a can of coconut milk, and I have that up here. This is my baking cupboard. which is a mess, but there's honey and vanilla and baking stuff, and the higher up has like more shortening and more baking soda and some cookie mixes, etc. But I always seem to get coconut milk when it's on sale, or carnation evaporated milk, or the sweetened condensed milk, because I can always use them in my coffee if I run out of cream. If you don't have any of the canned milks, you could add just regular milk, or a can of mushroom soup, or a can of creamy anything, or just a bit of water too. And it's all adaptable to whatever you have, either coconut milk or carnation evaporated milk, or regular milk, or powdered milk, or cream, or water, or, you know, I don't know about almond or cashew milk, but I'm sure that they'd probably taste fine then too. So now I am just going to, first I'm going to just drain a little bit of this juice into my soup that I already have. Don't want to waste the juice. I don't want too liquidy my curry, but I don't like, wasting stuff, so I will get those other beans out in a minute. Same with this other can. I'll drain some of the juice. Oh, a bean fell in there. That's fine. It's a soup. I can throw whatever I want in it. That's the joys of soup. And then this is the coconut milk. First, I'm going to stir this up first. So for supper, we could just have this. I know it'd be a meatless vegetarian meal. This with rice would cover all of your protein needs and your vegetable needs and stuff. You could have another curried vegetable. We're adding chicken tikka, which I took out of the freezer. There's like, I think 3 or 4 legs in there. There might be leftovers of that and this. I'm assuming with the amount that I'm making here that there will be leftovers for lunch or breakfast for my daughter, who likes rice and stuff. The one who had spaghetti pasta for breakfast this morning, or another supper. Depends on how much I have afterwards and how hungry everybody is, to see how much will be left over. Now I pour this in and stir that up, and then I'll simmer it for a bit. The recipe says should take like 30 minutes from start to finish, and so it can. I just tend to cook things early. Like right now it is, what time is it? It's 10:44 in the morning. So I like to get supper ready long before supper time, because I find that I get distracted in the afternoon, and then the kids come home early at like 2:30, but today they'll be home at 4 because they have other activities after school, and I just want things to be all ready so I could just heat up and serve. I just add some more salt, and I'm going to let this simmer. And so now I know to put on my grocery list some dried chickpeas and some other beans, so I can can those up, as I just got my pressure canner in November, and I have found that canning beans are so much cheaper than the store-bought ones. I mean, those cans cost under $1, but usually about 79 cents, 89 cents is what I would buy them at a can. If I needed a specific can, then I'd pay the higher price, but usually I can get them for under $1. But I can beans for half that price. Like a bag of chickpeas, a 2-pound bag, is probably about $2 or $3. And from that 2-pound bag, I'd get at least 8 or 10 jars about the size of a can. So, you know, that's 10 for $3 plus $1 for lids for 12 lids. I mean, I've already got the jars, so. And I get another frugal tip is to go onto your local free cycle, buy nothing, free store groups and put a request for canning jars. In the past couple months, I've received about 12 or 15 canning jars from people who had them and didn't want them anymore. They were given to them as gifts or whatever. I'm like, right there, that's free. That's, you know, that's free money. So that helps me to increase my stores of canning jars. I'm just toasting a naan bread I'm going to have for my lunch. And the squash that had reheated in the microwave, and the rice is done. It's perfectly cooked. It's wonderful. I love my rice cooker, as now my rice doesn't stick or is crunchy, or sometimes both, as it's my Achilles heel. And here is the naan bread. This stuff I got from Costco for $2.99 for 12 of them. And I'm going to have some of the curry in on my rice. Even though it's not supper time, I'm going to have it for lunch because the smell of it cooking is driving me crazy. Oops, that was the salt. Oh well. And I'm going to try a new hot sauce. I love hot sauce. I got from my stocking. So this is the Bollywood Indian style hot sauce from Frank's. I'm going to put a bit of that because I'm leaving the curry mild, because just in case my family doesn't want it spicy. I have one kid, my youngest, loves spicy. My oldest one depends on the day. She'll either take it spicy or not. And there's the now nicely warmed, just toasted in the toaster oven, naan bread and the veggies. So that's what I'm having for lunch. Also, I'm going to add some of this mango lime chili pickle, because these are really nice and spicy, to my vegetable curry as I'm having for lunch. And there you go. That's the spicy pickled lime. I believe it's like marinated in spices and oil and fermented. It is super yummy and spicy. It just adds a different level to your dish. I personally like it. My husband sometimes does. My kids, it's a hit and miss. They also have of this brand pickled mango as well. So this one's a mango lime and chili, and they have just a pickled mango. Okay, now we are going to do the chicken tikka, which I had taken out of the freezer yesterday. All I had done was taken, they're chicken legs, and taken one of these seasoning mixes that I get from the grocery store in the international food aisle. There's like chicken marsala, and there was like a chicken tikka. There's a shish kebab one, and dal, and different types of Indian curries. And marsala, I had just taken the seasoning packet and put it in here with the chicken, so it marinated while it froze and when it thawed. So actually, they're not Oh, this, I know what this one is. It's not chicken quarters. This is one of the chickens I got really cheap. Remember, it was like 98 for 3 chickens. Well, this is one of them that I decided to cut up into pieces, and I put all the wings in one bag from the 3 chickens to make chicken wings. Not that there's a lot of chicken wings. There was, what, 3 chickens, so 3 little bits and 3 like drumstick ones. But I cut the chicken up, and now I'm gonna, this, while I'm putting this on, this I got at the dollar store, and it's like a slip-lat one, but it's made for the barbecue. So literally you could put this on top of your barbecue grill and put your cut up veggies and cook it on there, and they won't fall through the grill. And it was like a Betty Crocker one, so it wasn't just like, you know, cheap plasticky stuff. But no, this is like a slip-lat, so I use it like a slip-lat just so I don't have to clean up a big huge mess of the chicken sticking to the pan. Because all I'm going to do is going to put this chicken in, and then the marinade on it, because it was the seasoning packet and I think lemon juice. And then I'm just going to pop it in the oven. I put it for 375, and I'm just going to cook it till done. So I check on it in half an hour or so. Basically, I cook until I start smelling food, and then I go, oh yes, I'm cooking. So I cook it at least for half an hour to an hour. And this bag, since it held raw chicken, I'm not going to try and wash and keep, because there's only certain things that I try and reuse. And raw chicken, it's really hard to try and get all the stuff out. Now, if this hadn't leaked, which it didn't, I don't think, and I had other raw chicken, I might put that in there to freeze, but I don't have that right now. And I've got a lot of these. And it's more work to clean it than to just throw it out. I want to show you something. These onions I got at the store, they were this high. I just put them in a mason jar with some water, and they were this high. This is how much they've grown in like a week. Now I'm going to cut these, and they will continue to grow. I mean, some of the leaves die, but look at how much root. If it was the summertime, I could plant these in dirt and they would continue growing. That's what I usually do in the summer and springtime, is I'll just replant stuff that I have. It works also for lettuces too. So I had this bit of lettuce that was cut down, see, to this mark here, and this is all the new growth. So I've taken lettuce from the store and cut some off, left about 3 inches or so at the 2 to 3 inches at the bottom, and then put that just in a yogurt container with some water and put it on the shelf. Now where it is, it gets absolutely no light because it's on my little pass through from the kitchen to the dining room. But if I move it towards the window, it'll get some light. My kitchen is not very bright because actually it's more bright in the wintertime than it is in the summertime, because I have a big tree outside my window that once spring hits and it's full of leaves, I get not much light in here. So that's that. So now you see how I cut the onions, and you'll see how high it's above the jar. It's about 2 inches. So we'll see how more this grows over the next few days, and it'll be in my pantry challenge video, so you can kind of see. And there is the green onions all cut up. Seeing this now, I'm thinking of making maybe baked potatoes tomorrow for supper, as now I've got green onions and I have sour cream in the fridge, and I have potatoes, and maybe do that with whatever else I find in the freezer today. Did you know that dish soap can freeze? Like, it's not completely solid, but I had it on my storage shelves in my garage. And I live in Canada, where it's currently about -20 out, and my garage is a little bit warmer than outside. But I'm trying to get some soap out, and look at it. I'm going to put maybe a light on it. I'm just going to try and squeeze a tiny bit of soap out so that I can get something. But look, my dish soap is solid. It's like Play-Doh. So note to self, if you do put dish soap in the garage to store, because animals won't go at it, for one thing, because it's soap, that to bring it inside long before you need to use it to defrost. So I'm going to my freezer again to get some stuff. I think I'm going to take out these sausages for tomorrow to make with baked potatoes and use the green sausages for tomorrow, and then use that with baked potatoes and the green onions I cut today, as well as I have a container of lamb curry, which I think will go well with my leftovers today from supper, from the chicken tikka and curry chickpeas. I might have to make more rice depending, but I found some interesting things. I have a turkey soup here, and I have a thing of chopped celery. I have some lamb skewers that I got half price. What's this? I think that's another stock, but I won't take that out until next week. What is here? And there's a thing of hamburger, which I'll use up since that's from July, versus the big package over here. I'll use that up to make meatballs, maybe for Thursday, or no, I'll make it for Friday because I'll use curry for Thursday. Problem is my family won't eat things the next day exactly. I'll have some chicken nuggets. What else is in here? Oh, that's cooked ground beef. Oh, see, and look at this. This ground beef I got. This is still a package from when I got a cow like a couple of years ago. Not freezer burnt at all. Actually, that's the ground beef I will use up before the July one. So this is my goal, is to get down to the bottom and try and use up the things down there so that I can actually prepare my freezer with freezer meals already prepared that I could just take out and use, versus just having a bunch of ingredients. I'll still have ingredients, but I want to have it more purposeful. And oh, there's chicken burgers. I have no buns for them right now. Maybe I'll make buns for on the weekend. Maybe make hamburgers out of that burger. Possibilities are endless. This is the problem, is I have a hard time making decisions. So today I'm going to use two things from my freezer. That'll be two less things that were in there for a while, because this one, well, this one's not too bad. It's frozen and it said best before November 2nd, so it was frozen probably November 1st, because when there's these stickers on it, that means there was like a $2 or $3 or $4 off coupon. So if this was normally $4, it would be like $2 or whatever. And here is the soup. Oh, right. Turn on the light. I just put the pasta little things in there. The, what's it called? Sacchetti. So that's chicken and bacon ones. This I've decided is going to be the kids' lunches and my lunch tomorrow. So, but making it now as it's been made, and then we'll have this with some fruit or veggie, maybe some hummus and pita for their lunches. It all depends on what I feel like in the morning packing their lunch. You'll see tomorrow. And here is supper. Some basmati rice done in the rice cooker. The chicken tikka, which I did in the oven, nice crispy skin. And this is the curry chickpeas, which I'll put the recipe in the link to this video, which I used a can of mixed beans and a can of chickpeas because I didn't have 2 cans of chickpeas. And I used about 2 or 3 cups of pumpkin and a couple leaves of kale as the vegetables that are hidden in here. A couple of onions and turnip and parsnip and carrots. So, and a can of coconut milk. So this is supper tonight with naan bread, which is right here, which I'll heat up in the oven.